The Port City of Mokpo brings us to the latest round of the F4 division of the Excite Racing League. One of the lower tier divisions, but it's been one this season with quite a lot of excitement. And it'll be interesting to see if they can make anything happen on this track that's a bit of a white elephant, has to be said. No longer on the F1 calendar, of course, but on the game, we are still here. A circuit where the first sector is very much reminiscent of Monza and Spa. And then after that, you get a kind of mismatch between Valencia and a few of the other street circuits. It's one of the strange ones here. Compromise setup required, and it's all about getting your skills right on the circuit. All you people out there on the stream, coverage tonight, of course, brought to you by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk. I've been Pete Markroft, and I'm joined tonight by good old friend Bobbits. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Pete. Well, Korea, not one of my favourite tracks, I must say, but this is not concerning me tonight. This is the F4 guys. Generally looking forward to this. We've got a new driver in the box in the lineup with us tonight, as well as a couple of Tier 6 drivers. And a couple of drivers not racing, especially Ryan, who will be probably noted as the highest rated driver, being one of the quickest in this division. But yeah, hopefully we're going to look forward to a fantastic race as always.
Well, Jordan's first out ahead of the snake in a Mercedes. He's one of the first out. Anyway, I think some guys may have just left the pits on the option tyre, so it's just made it round to start. That poor traction out of turn one, hit the inside curve there, and that really unsettled the car. Managed to get away with it, but still had to catch the car towards the wall, and that's going to slow you down, no doubt about it. Heading on the long straight, first two DRS zones, the other one being on the pit straight. And is it tricky to get the car stopped under DRS with the tight nature of this corner and the blind nature of the braking zone? Is it really easy to just go straight on into the asphalt?
I would definitely say that's probably the most difficult corner on the track, actually, because yeah, as you said, you're going from around about 200 miles an hour with the head of DRS, going into about a 40 to 50 mile an hour corner, depending on obviously what tires, what compound of tire you're on. But yeah, it's quite easy to lock up, to go wide, to take too much of the curve, which can then spin you out, and it's a make or break corner, really.
Well, on the straight, Melon G Killers has already got it with his comment saying Jordan or Allen for the win, I think. Well, Jordan's had a scruffy lap so far. He's gone really wide at turn 10 there. And as we get into the double apex at turn 11, you can see he's struggling a bit with the car here. He's not really liking this circuit as we go through 12. The boy's going off into the Astro turn at 13, and he's gone, look how wide he's gone there, onto the grass. Dustby gets into the air at 14, then we're into the double apex at 15, 16. He's managed to hit the wall before turning again. This is a very poor lap. Almost spun the car at 16, through the fast apex at 17. He's going to complete it through the kick of 18, and lap time of a 1:37, but the lap time's not been counted. He's been given a corner cut. Meanwhile, GBR Delta signing in, saying, I'm here. Well, good evening to you. Name of Fruskin on mine. I think I'm going to go with GBR Delta instead. Murders Merdex has to pace on a 1:37.8 to go second to Sauber, and Flame Dragon in the Red Bull just going through turn 16 to 17. Oh, big corner cut on the inside there. Not sure we gain him an advantage because of the high curves, but he's going to complete the lap anyway. It doesn't look anything special, this. 1:38.2, good enough for third place, but nothing spectacular at all. Craig Senna, 38.9 from the T6 division, so he's done a good job here. As John Digweed on the Pride tyres completes his outlap. XRL Michaels, we are just going through turn 4, around about 40 seconds when he turned in there, about par. What kind of lap time would you expect here, Bobbits, if you're going to try and call the pole position?
Well, I think with the people that we've got in this lobby tonight, we could expect absolutely anything. I would probably say a low 37 would be definite front row. I think you may see one or two of the guys maybe slip into the 36s, but again, it's good. I just hope it's going to be a really tight qualifying session, which I think it will be from these guys, especially with the likes of the two Mercedes drivers. The McLaren in particular of XRL Michaels, and you can't discount the new driver we've got tonight, which is Miss Brilliant. I've been informed that she's got quite a fair bit of pace, and well, let's see what she can bring to the show.
Well, in the meantime, Max XRL Michaels just going through turn 16 to 17 now. Lap time looks a bit mediocre, actually. I don't even know if it's going to complete this. Yeah, this is actually a very poor lap on the option tyres. 1:38.4, quite disappointing from him. Craig Senna again still going round on his laps, so he's not got anything going. Sir Clark for the 1:54 is his first lap. I get the feeling he's trying to do a second one. Eyes the Best just coming out on an out lap at the moment, so we're in that crossover period with Skazin on a 1:37.5 in first place. and then Murders Mehdi on a 37.8 who's just got back to the pits now. So we're seeing a lot of drivers here. So the aforementioned Miss Brilliant, a 138.2 is her first effort. Not bad for a debut performance, good enough for 4th place so far in the Lotus. So quite a few guys a bit lower than I would have expected pace-wise here. And for those of you on the street tonight, do not forget you can also check out the GP3. They're on Channel 2. I believe that's going to be F1 Speed and Writers Tag bringing you coverage of that tonight.
Might just tag races in GP3.
No, I just tag. I can't remember. It's commentating with him, actually. I'm too used to him being the general dog's body who snaps into the box all the time.
I think it might be FIF Alonso, but don't quote me on that one.
Well, it's where for those of you who are watching the stream, so go check it out. Me and two bits of commentators, but can't really do that for you. John Digweed on the prime tyres going into turn 14 before the double apex of 15-16, and he's gone very wide there, completely off the circuit and slowed right down. I think we're going to see him go to the box here rather than complete his lap. He hooks the right side, and indeed he goes in. Manages to avoid doing a Pastor Maldonado and going the wrong side of the bollard going into the pit lane. You don't get a penalty that strangely on the game, but in real life, I guess you would drive through.
Yeah, it is quite a strange one actually, but then again, I don't make the game, so what do I know?
Most people don't make that mistake either, really, so I suppose it's kind of a nothing penalty if he was in the game. Eyes the best, he's not yet started on that, but he's just coming through turn 17 to 18 in the Lotus on the option tyres. So let's see what this Lotus driver can do. Showed good performance in quite a few of the races to finish so far. Obviously stepping into the pole tonight, upper league a bit. Not bad at turn 1, gets a little too much on the curve, so had to get off the gas there. Didn't quite get as fast on the traction as he would have liked, but still a decent push out of turn 2, down towards turn 3. DRS flat wide open, and I've got a message from Brutal Reapers. I'll get on to that in a moment. And to get to turn 3, let's listen. Almost at the rev limiter, saving plenty of revs there in the car for when he needs it. Gets a little understeer at turn 3, and we're seeing a lot of drivers favouring the karting line there, going a bit wide. Do you get more traction by going wide on the apex there than going actually into the corner?
In all honesty, I can't really answer that question. I mean, the line that I would tend to take through there is, I would take a wider entry, but I would try and keep it as close to the curb as possible. That, if you can straighten the car up a little quicker and you avoid hitting the outside curb, which I must say is quite lethal if you do take quite too much of it, as well as the one out of turn 8, I believe it is as well. Those two can really unsettle the car and cause you to have a spin at some point. So, I would avoid the curb, but I wouldn't really say that a karting line is the quickest way.
Well, in the meantime, Alan G. Kill sticking with his prediction that Alan will be the one on pole position. For those of you who don't know, Alan is none other than as Cassie. Now, I've sent a message from Brutal Reapers asking why he's not given a chance. I can't say anymore, mate. I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. And if you have a problem, talk to your division head. Don't talk to me while I'm commentating. So Eyes the Best going through turn 18 into the fast kink at the end of the lap. Looks 38.8, not bad, down in 6th place. Not quite sure it's the pace he'll want to though. Sir Clarkford in the Sauber is just about to warm up on a option tyres run, having done a 154.1 on the primes. I think he's going to find a bit more pace than that somehow.
Yes, I think I would agree with you on that one. I think he's not done that much practice. I don't think he's had the time, or if he's been doing a little bit of maybe some race setup, perhaps that's what he's doing. But
well, less around the board as it goes to turn 1. DRS open and gets nice on the apex actually. It really rides that well. That's one of the cleanest exits I've seen out of 1 into 2 so far. So a very promising start to the lap for Sir Clarkford. But there's another 16 corners to go, so you've got to make sure you nail it every single time. Down the long straight towards turn 3. And as you mentioned, look at that, already over 200 miles an hour. Shows how much speed you can carry into this hairpin. And yet gone a little wide, locked up a little bit there. And you can see how tricky it is getting into that corner. Meanwhile, I'm Called Z is asking what league. This is the F4 division of the Excite Racing League. If you're a newcomer and you've never seen us before, good evening to you and welcome for joining us tonight. As Clarkford goes round through turn 4, decent lap time, goes into fight, that's a bit too close to the inside curb there, and that throws him wide at 6. We saw a lot of moves in the F1 division into turn 6. That's now become somewhat of an overtaking position on this game.
Surprisingly, yes, it has been. There was, as you mentioned, there was quite a few in the F1 division actually, and well, I wouldn't put it past these guys for doing it again. I just hope that they keep it clean. But currently, just looking at the qualifying results at the moment, it's a Mercedes 1-2 with Askasian improving to a 37.1 ahead of his teammate Jordan on a 37.5.
Well, they're saying he's certainly liking the asphalt here at Yongnam, South Korea. But it's a question of whether any of the guys can bring it into the forefront at the end of the lap. So Clark going a little wide at turn 14. As they go into 15 and 16, gets a nice run into the corner. Manages to avoid going too wide, gets onto the outside kick. Doesn't look anything spectacular, this. Let's finish the lap anyway, got a courtesy. And, well, 39.2 keeps in 9th place, but it's not that far off. John Digweed, meanwhile, is on the primes. He's the only runner so far I've seen seriously giving these white wall tyres a go. Is this like a Singapore where the option tyres are so much faster than the prime?
Yeah, definitely, Swish. I would, again, only use the prime tyres once in this race and use it for as minimal as you can. And, yeah, the more option tyres that you have, the better you'll be, the quicker you'll be. And, yeah, it's definitely the strategy to go with.
So would you expect someone to try and maybe qualify in the mid-pack on the prime and then just burn through all the fresh options to the end? And
yeah,
39.1 for John Digweed, he actually goes faster than Clarkford on the prime tyre. That's impressive.
Yes, I would definitely agree with you. I think best thing to do is get those primes out of the way on the first stint. And it doesn't mean that you can keep yourself out of trouble generally as well in the first stint. And then when you come to do your option stints, you'll be in clean air and you can put the quick laps in. And you can find yourself just, going well, quite well at the field. So I think that seems what John Digweed seems to be doing.
Well, Sick Harry and his sister Williams about to warm up on another option runs. First time he's tried a lap here. There's a little bit of kick that occurs as he goes over 18 into the DRS zone, flat wide open, in towards turn 1. Kind of the first zone here where you use it to catch and then pass down towards turn 3. At least that's what we saw in the F1 division on Sunday evening. And Sick Harry getting on the curves, winding up out of turn 2. Gets a decent exit, a bit too wide maybe, but not really struggling too much. DRS flat wide open, keeping as far left as he dares, wanting to ride the walls into turn 3. Got a little shaky on the brakes, managed to get the car stopped okay. Very slow apex, and he gets out of there, punches down, passes the support paddock towards turn 4.
I'm currently on board with the second Lotus driver of Miss Brilliance, as I said, who it's a debut race tonight. She's just coming through.
You've got a crush, haven't you? That's about the 7th time you've mentioned her tonight.
Oh, behave. I'm just watching her come through the last corner now. She's coming across the start finish line and she doesn't improve. I think she's had a corner cut. And I've had an invite from Righteous Tag. And he wants to talk to me. So
well, he's in GP3, so I don't think we can really cross the streams like that. It'd be a total platonic reversal. Trying to imagine all that doesn't matter in space, completely reversed and stuck inside out.
Yes.
Points to a few people who recognise that reference. Fuzzy37 meanwhile just said he's laughing on the stream. Well, God, we can make you giggle. Going through turn 12, Sick Harry getting wide up through turn 13 to sector 3. Kind of like the semi-street section, a bit like Long Beach. Gets a decent run into 14. Oh, right to the sausage curve, a bit too much there. Has to kind of like back out. Goes wide on the inside into turn 17. Doesn't get too bad traction out of the corner, actually, Sick Harry, as I go over the final thing. But he's actually got it. Oh, Flame Dragon has retired from qualifying. Well, that's unfortunately going to be a penalty. It's in the rules. You can't qualify, retire. You're not allowed to retire from qualifying. And also, interestingly, LNG Killers is picked for the way to qualify pole position. And Scarsin is in second place. But on the final warm-up, he's just going to make it round on the option tyres. He's going to make this lap count if he's going to have any chance of starting from the front. Meanwhile, Spinning on 56 asking mentioned who? The new female driver, Miss Brilliant. Yeah, that's someone who's not confident having a name like that. Absolutely excellent. DRS lap wide open from this Carson as head down towards turn 1. Flat gets close as he punches a hole in the air. Gets a little wide, almost uses the astroturf, but gets a good straight line exit out with 2 onto the curves down towards turn 3. Last chance saloon really for Scarson. He has to improve. He wants to start on the front row.
Well, he currently is starting in the front row. He is P2 at the moment, but he's got the likes of his teammate Jordan in particular. He's under threat from him. He's come through turn 3. Takes that brilliantly, actually, avoids the outside curb and gets on the gas quite early, so this looks promising so far.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of pace and he's punching his way down through the slipstream into turn 4. Oh, he's got a little wide, got a bit shaky on the entry. We'll manage to get it on the kind of like a wider entry, kind of like the cutback line that Fernando Alonso favoured making an overtake. Did quite decent through 5 and 6, no real apex troubling. Well, managed to get the extra traction on the wider line into the start of the chicane at turn 7. Yeah, you can see he's struggling to get the bite into the higher speed corners here. It's like he's not got the car that's high equipped. He's definitely gone for the lower downforce setup. In through 9 into turn 10. You can see that he's struggling to get the car stopped and tight into the apex edge. But again, he's getting decent traction out of the corner. And a track like this is where traction's really important, isn't it?
Definitely, because you got so many slow and medium speed corners on this track, particularly through the second and third sectors. It is the most important thing on this track, closely followed by the aerodynamics, and it does seem like Ascassin is using. Oh, he gets a lot.
I don't even know if he's going to complete this lap because that seemed very lackadaisical going through the penultimate corner there.
Well, he's definitely not going to improve, that's for sure. And indeed he doesn't. And Murder's improved to third, so Jordan's been nudged down to fourth.
And Flame Dragon out of nowhere, a 36.8 to get himself pole position. Miss Brilliant, meanwhile, 38.2, starting fifth place alongside Sir Clarkford. Almost nothing between them two. And XRL Michaels as also right in there as well. So we've got a big tight pack as we move off the top four into the middle order there. And that could get quite tasty into turns 1, 2 and 3.
Yes, most definitely. This is looking promising. Flame Dragon getting a 36.8, really respectable time, roughly where I said it would be actually. So two out of 3 guesses from each both sides. Not too bad in times for these guys. I'll keep a tally of that.
Listen to Psychic Sally here in the box with me this evening.
Oh yeah.
So of course, all you people out there on the stream, if you've got any comments, please keep them coming in. Like Fozzie with his comments about his laughter and Smitty asking a few questions. And again, we're always inviting you questions about everything, whether it's about the race that you've got on here, future races in XRL, or indeed future things about F1 itself. Either way, get your comments in it. You can either send them via the twitch.tv chat box online, or if you're watching via the app, courtesy of Xbox Live, if you want to, you can also send them via Xbox Live message to myself, Game Attack Swishbone, or to my commentating partner here, XRL Bobbert. Either way, we'll do our best to get through them and try and do what we can. But it's going to be a glorious sunshine race here. According to the radar, it says 0% chance of rain. Now, Smitty Lad is saying that the F4 division is so quick and he can only set a 1:38 on Korea. It's a track where we have seen a lot of pace this week, surprisingly. It's been a bit faster than I thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it seems to be one of those tracks, actually, that it's like a Marmite-style track. You either love it or you hate it, and that clearly shows into your pace as well. Oh, we've lost Craig Senna.
Well, we've lost the driver before we even started the race. That's really not what we wanted to see. So we're down now to just 11 runners and riders. There's nothing worse to see. Hopefully that's the only one we're going to see. As I say, it's a long race here. We've got a total lap of around about... We've got 28 laps indeed, so we've got a long race ahead of us. And the best way for us to know what's going to happen is to get out onto the circuit, bringing you uninterrupted coverage courtesy of GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk, exclusive on Twitch.tv this evening.
So I'm going to ask you this question, Trish, and you know, ask me your prediction on the race when.
It's a really tricky one to call, but I'd say with the cleanness of the driving, I think I'm going to back Ascassin. He's due a good result after last week what happened in Singapore.
Well, I'm going to push the boat out here, and I'm going to go with Murder.
Bit of an interesting gambit. Who do you think is going to win, viewers? Get your messages on the chat box or, of course, via Xbox Live. But let's get out to the paddock and find out exactly what's going to happen. For 28 laps on the outskirts of the port city of Mokpo. We are here at Yongnan for the South Korean Grand Prix in the F4000 division. Starting at the back of the grid is me, XRL Bobbert. It'll be interesting to see how these guys go on. It's a very short run down towards turns 1 and 2, but it's very easy to get caught up. And meanwhile, out there for Flame Dragon and support for Spinny Lab, we will be racing when the 5 lights come out. And it's lights out, and away they go. So down towards turn 1, a short run, and Flame Dragon gets poor traction off the line. That's a threat from Ascassin in the Mercedes, but he goes wide. Flame Dragon makes a big mistake there, and Flame Dragon's going to dive right up the inside of him, and already we've got the Sauber cutting through as well. Down to third place, Flame Dragon. Murder's Verde, your pick is actually in the slipstream of Ascassin, pulls out to the left, down towards turn 3. These guys are side by side. It's going to be all a matter of who's going to be bravest on the brakes under the heavy attacks. Murder's Verde goes a little bit wide. Ascassin gets hit off the circuit. I think that might have been courtesy of Flame Dragon there. He's come out right back in the pack as a result of that. Meanwhile, further down, we've got Flame Dragon in second place now, courtesy of that incident. In third place, Miss Brilliant fighting onto the podium. And take a look at the inside already of Flame Dragon and the Red Bull going off track around the outside of turn 5. Flame Dragon's got the traction there, though, and already under threat from the McLaren. Into into turn 6 and she has to back out of the move. Gets poor traction and that's going to let the McLaren driver through into third place. Great driver from XRL Michaels. He's clawing his way back, but Ascarsen's going to be absolutely livid with that one.
Most definitely, yeah. Flame Dragon just seemed to outbreak himself going into turn 3, and I think Ascarsen was just simply a passenger. He's made a move on the inside and missed brilliant, and a little bit.
That's Jordan, actually. It's not Ascarsen. Jordan trying to go around the outside of double apex at turn 11. And has he got the traction? Yes, he has. That's exceptional driving. It's so difficult to go around the outside there. This brilliant drifting the car, Colin McRae style. Evidently finding the heavy fuel difficult, and Ascarsen now goes through. Oh, but Jamie's lost his wing. I don't know what happened there. He's literally stretching it all over the circuit. Miss Brilliant Ascarsen got through, as does the rest of the pack. Jamie's in real trouble now. So moving third back, we've got Sick Harry in the McLaren. We've got a bit of a lagging McLaren there in the back. That was Irish Blue Gunner being chased by the Sister Williams, being piloted by Sir Clarkman. And Clarkman gets on the inside of the Sauber. Oh, he takes him a turn 1. There's a being power between the Ferrari. Looked like got the brakes completely wrong, and John Digweed may have hit that McLaren off the circuit.
Flame Dragon all over the back of Murder coming towards turn 3. He's having a look on the inside. He's later on the brakes. And he's outbroken himself. Murder gets the undercut and retakes the lead.
Miss Brilliant goes through on the inside of turn 3 in 5th place, but sheds it under big pressure now because the Williams of Sick Harry's trying to out-drag down towards turn 4. Sick Harry's on the outside. A car overhead. Can he clinch the apex ahead of her? Gets on the inside. Miss Brilliant takes a tight apex into turn 5, but Sick Harry makes the move stick.
Great move by Sick Harry there. The intelligent driving, just bought his time, waited for the moment to attack, and bang, takes it. Easy as you can.
Well, XRL Michaels in P3 now, chasing after Flame Dragon is in second place after Murders Murday. On the stream, we've got a message from Finny2902 saying he's German. Willkommen. And that's all the German I really know, so don't ask me to say anymore.
Well, you can always have a little chat with me. I did a bit of German back at school, but then again, that's going back about 6 years now.
Flame Dragon getting close to the slipstream and Murders Murday in the Sauber, really doing his best to try and get up to the back of the diffuser and attack down towards turns 2 and 3. DRS will be available on the next lap, not on the pit straight, but down towards turn 3. Meanwhile, Smitty is saying, can say right now, this game more fun to watch instead of playing it. Well, definitely. Getting on the curves, down towards turn 1, Flame Dragon in the slipstream, not DRS yet, but gets onto the inside of the apex of turn 1, and Murders Murday goes wide onto the ascensor that's going to pick up poor traction, and Flame Dragon in the Red Bull is sizing up the back of the Sauber, and he goes to the flat down towards turn 3, there goes the DRS, curves deployed, Murders Murday trying to stay on the inside, Flame Dragon's already got clean ahead. Question is he going to be able to get the car stopped with a lower downforce into turn 3? Yes, he is. He made that look absolutely easy. In the meantime, XRL Michaels under pressure now in P3 as we've got Ascarsen fighting his way back to the front in P4.
Definitely having a looking down on the inside. Has a little look, but backs out at the last second. Michael's just, he runs a little bit wide actually, and that opens the door for Ascarsen to potentially get the undercut, but I think he's just about held him off for now.
Yeah, Michael seems to be struggling really to poor traction into that corner. Ryan, meanwhile, on the stream, I don't even know he's watching this, even though he's on holiday, it would look like, has just sent me a message saying Murders Murday to win. Ryan W. something. So, great to see you watching there, great prediction. But he is under pressure at the moment because, of course, Flame Dragon's going to first place. Now, Ascarsen looks at the back of Michaels and goes wide at turn 10. And Ascarsen's going to try and repeat what his teammate Jamie did around the outside at 11. Oh, he's just not pulled out there. And that's one of the Williams. I mean, that's Sick Harry trying to get on the inside. Indeed it is. We've just not got the traction to attack. And he's dragging along with him. Miss Brilliant. Oh, Ascarsen goes very wide at turn 13 now. Goes totally off the circuit.
Yeah, these are all having a little bit of battle with each other, and what all it's doing is allowing the front two of Flame Dragon and Murder Smith to pull out a little bit of a gap, which looks like, say, around about 2
Bobbers, do me a favour, unplug your mic and plug it back in. I'm getting quite a bit of echo from you. And Sick Harry, meanwhile, DRS flap open on the back of Ascarsen down towards turn 1, trying to get a look at the back of the Mercedes, but the Mercedes is also chasing after XRL Michaels, so we may be a potential double overtake, double whammy here into the DRS, so flat wide open on both Ascarsen's Mercedes, and Ascarsen lights up the tyres on the curves, goes on the inside onto turn 3. Sick Harry might follow him here, gets the slipstream on the McLaren, it's going to be 2 minutes, and the Sick Harry tries to take both of them, but streamlines the corner, goes nowhere near the apex and lets them both back through, and as a result of that, Michaels gets back ahead of Ascarsen.
Yeah, I think Scarson was caught out by the very late braking and, well, outbraking.
Scarson looking at the inside of Michaels. He's seen that he's struggled to get to the apex of 4, but he's just not close enough to attack. Meanwhile, out in first place, second place, meanwhile, Murder's Murday is still all over the back of Flame Dragon. These guys are not letting each other go. We've got a huge cluster of cars all together in certain parts of the racetrack, providing excellent racing. And all you people out there on the stream, keep your messages coming in. XRL Michaels in third place. From him, we've got Scarson in the Mercedes. And then after that, we've got Sick Harry in the Williams, being followed at the back of the train by Mr. Brilliant, the Davidson in the Lotus. 4 cars from 3rd to 6th, all within maybe 2 seconds of each other.
Yeah, these guys are living up to their name as always, giving us a fantastic race, and, well, not even 4 laps through yet.
Going for turn 12, and we can see that there's a little bit of a gap for him as Miss Brilliant's car doesn't seem to be set up for the more twisty sections of 2 and 3. We saw Nico Hulkenberg do that to great effect for Sauber in 2013, man. He managed to hold off both Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. But of course, if you get it right, you can use that to scamper away. Meanwhile, behind them is one of the cars in the pits there. I'm not sure who that is. Sick Harry taking a look into turn 1 on the back of a Scarson. And Scarson get decent traction, but so does Harry. And they're both sides of the XRL Michaels is under considerable pressure here as we enter the DRS zone. Flat wide open for Scarson. He's already got to the outside. Is Harry thinking about the inside? No, he's not. He's following the Scarson and he fancies a late lunge on the Mercedes driver. No, he backs out of it, and as a result, XRL Michaels retains 4th place, but Scarson now on the podium.
Good fight back from Scarson. Must say after that first lap incident, he's doing well, and now can he set himself and catching down the 2 leaders?
Jamie's actually backing a Scarson to win. Well, at the same time, he's in the right position. He's in clean air a bit now, but he has got 2 cars right behind him, and that's going to make things tricky when it comes to managing the tyres towards the second part of the stint. However, look at Sick Harry getting brilliant traction out of turn 6, all over the back of XRL Michaels and the McLarens to go through 7 and 8. And Michaels is really struggling at seeing in this early start of the race.
Well, one thing for sure, Flame Dragon is actually pulling out a little bit of a gap to Murder's Murder at the moment, and he seems to be coming under the grips of the guys from behind. So Murder's Murder is struggling a little bit as they come into the end of this first stint on his option tyres, which seem to be wearing out quite quickly.
I was about to ask you, 50% distance, option tyres, super softs, how long would you possibly expect them to last?
I would get on qualifying sets, I would possibly see people pitting in this lap.
Well, I've already seen someone earlier on K.
And Murder's Murder pits. Murder's
Murder is in. Michaels stays out, and so does Sick Harry in the Williams, and also so does a Scarson. So there's a potential undercut being done here by Murder's Murder in the Sauber. As we enter turn 1, XRL Michaels locks up, caught out by a Scarson's braking, and as a result, Sick Harry is now all over the diffuser of that McLaren, deploying his curves going onto the outside here, but Michaels is fighting back the same way. DRS flap on for both of these drivers. Sick Harry pulls to the inside with the dummy, setting up the turn 3. Can he get the car stopped into the apex? No, he's just not able to close the gap. And as a result, XRL Michaels is fending him off. Great driving.
Yeah, fantastic from XRL Michaels, just living up to his, well, he did say to me that this is one of his strongest tracks, and, well, if he can prove to fend off some of the bigger guys up just ahead of him in the division, then he's certainly giving himself a good chance.
Certainly has done, but you can see that he's really struggling in these tight corners of that Mickey Mouse hairpins, really finding it much more difficult to get the traction down. As it's towards 7 and 8, Sick Harry's all over him like a wanted rash here, as it's towards turn 10, and we're doing plenty of moves on the outside here. Oh, Sick Harry realises he's not going to get on the inside there, and lets Michaels go away from him without ensuring he hits him. So it's actually good intelligent driving there to try and not chop across him. XRL Michaels, as a result, has actually closed right onto a Scarson, and to go through the double apex of 11 and into 12, and I think Scarson's tyres may have actually gone here, because Michaels is now all over him and really hustling the back of the Mercedes into turn 14, and he's already passed him. He's passed him on the inside of turn 14. That's a critical move. And Scarson now, and also Sick Harry on the outside. Oh, the side point glitch. Both drivers are taking each other out of the circuit, and as a result, Michaels takes advantage and gets into the pits. And what's the Scarson doing here? He's gone over the grass to get into the pit. We're even close to the line. Irish Blue Gunner takes the lead on the prime tyres as everybody else has now gone in at the end of the options run.
Well, I've just received a message from Ryan, W7799, who is generally the Ferrari driver in this division, just saying that he's enjoying the stream from his hotel.
So that's how living the high life, get the champagne in. Murder's Murder gets the DRS flat wide open on the back of the Red Bull. I think that's Flame Dragon as they head towards turn 3. And Murder's Murder is able to blast past it. Can he get the car stopped on these cold prime tyres? Yes, he can. But the question is, has he got poor traction out the corner? Because Flame Dragon took a much wider line, got a lot more better traction, and blasted right back past him. Flame Dragon really hanging on by the skin of his teeth here as Murder's Murder tries to make life as difficult as possible on those prime tyres.
Well, these guys, they've gone for a split strategy at the moment. Now, obviously, Flame Dragon going for another set of options, and Murder's Murder getting the prime tyres out of the way. So you'd expect Flame Dragon now to build up a bit of a gap, because these two are running net P1 and 2 at the moment. But you'll see Murder's Murder come back at him within the third stint.
Well, that's what you'd expect. Well, we didn't really see that happen in the F1 division, actually. We expected that, and then all of a sudden, nothing. And it was an easy victory in the end. So it's one of those where the form book doesn't always come true on the actual circuit. Meanwhile, back in 5th place, Miss Brilliant in the Lotus is just ahead of XRL Michaels. So he's actually been jumped by the Lotus driver, so that'll be a big disappointment for him. Jordan down in 7th place, and Escassin down in 8th. Escassin, much like a Singapore, just hasn't had the look here. Gets taken off a little bit by Flame Dragon, and then has the side pod glitch as he's coming into his pit stop stint by Sick Harry. Not the best of drives so far. He's just been very unlucky, it would seem.
Well, people have their look at different points of the year, and clearly this isn't Escassin's time for having look. Oh, as Murder's Murder just locks up in the tunnel, and he's lost so much time to Flame Dragon just off that one lap. You can see the gap is already around about at least 2 seconds.
XRL Michaels going to have DRS on the back of Miss Brilliant, but he didn't deploy it straight away. Cost himself a crucial 1 or 2 tenths there, and the straight line speed advantage has come into play. And yeah, you can see he's trying to go wall of death around the outside, locks up a little bit, but that was as brave as you like, and a very good overtake in the end. I wasn't sure he could make the corner, but he managed to prove me wrong.
No, this is the rare thing that happens, Swish, and well, they've managed to do that tonight.
Man, it's the first time for everything. Meanwhile, Murder's Murder, you're quite correct, has lost out to Flame Dragon. He's now got ahead of John Digweed as well. So he's got a car in between himself and Murder's Murder. And Flame Dragon is now chasing down the sister McLaren of Irish Blue Gunner. Now, Irish is on the warm prime tyres. Flame Dragon's on fresh options. So you'd expect it to be easy pickings for the Red Bull driver here.
Definitely, I think you'll probably see Flame Dragon probably taking the lead in down to turn 1. He'll probably use the DRS, and I don't think he'll hang back for the second one. He should have decent traction out of turn 1 just to get ahead of him, and yeah, he could quite easily pull a bit of a gap to Murder's Murderer and to the guys behind.
We're going through turn 14 and into 15 and 16, and he's already eaten that gap down by about a second in one section here. Really taking the attack through turn 17, and under DRS you expect he's going to blast past Blue Gunner, but does he hold on and wait towards turn 3, or does he take him now and try and pull away? Let's watch on board Flame Dragon taking a look, and he's decided to go for it into turn 1. It's rare that anyone makes the overtake here for fear of being DRS'd on the outside. They're side by side towards the line, and Irish Blue Gunner's going to have the flap open as they head down towards turn 3 here. There goes the flap. It's a little bit late though as it deploys the curves. Can the straight line speed get him back ahead and hold up Flame Dragon for another lap here? Getting to turn 3, Flame Dragon gets on the brakes a little bit late, almost touches the back of the diffuser of Flame Dragon. Irish Blue Gunner, but gets away with it, and Flame Dragon back into the lead. Murder's Murder, meanwhile, under considerable pressure now, because XRL Michaels in the McLaren and also John Digweed are getting in the mix here, and Michaels has caught right up to the back of him.
Yeah, Murder's Murder and Michaels both made
it's gone wide! Murder's Murder's gone wide in turn 4! And XRL Michaels nearly down on the inside for the first time I've seen him do that all race. And going around the outside turn 5, he's got the filtering line to 6! And XRL Michaels makes that work. Beautiful driving.
Yeah, great move there again. Michaels is another one who's gone for the option tyres in the second stint. So Murder's Murder, so long as he can stick with these guys or not lose too much time, then he shouldn't dishearten himself. He'll get back there near to the end of the race.
Well, crucially for them, they've now got John Digweed in between themselves and the David Todd driver, Miss Brilliant. So they've got themselves a little bit of a leeway, around about a second and a half, before she might become a threat to them. Meanwhile, a question for Craig Senna is asking, where's Eyes the best? On a beach, up a mountain, I don't know. Anywhere but England, it would seem.
He's currently in 10th.
He's in a tent, right in the 10th place. Okay, fair enough. Murder's Murder going through turns 15 and 16, going on the inside. I thought he wasn't racing this week, Eyes the best.
No, yeah, he is racing. He said that he would be able to cover for us tonight.
DRS flat wide open, Murder's Murday down towards turn 1 as he on the inside, and he's not taking a look at Michaels, doesn't want to get blasted back past down towards turn 3, but as XRL Michaels got the traction to drop it down towards turn 3, that's wide on board, Kerr's deployed, DRS flat wide open, and the overspeed difference very obvious. Look at this, Murder's Murday going right on the outside, and that was easy. Can he get the car stuck to keep the full advantage and get behind Irish Blue Gunner? Goes a little wide, and Michaels, real defensive driving to take that title line and keep third place. Magnificent.
Side by side, those coming towards turn 4. Can Murder's Murder outbrake Michaels? He can.
Can he force Michaels onto the title line? Yes, he does. Now, the question is, has Michaels got the traction to come back at him? We saw him do that on the previous laps with turn 6, but he's just not got the track position. And right behind him now, Miss Brilliant's cleared John Digweed and has now got a little bit of clean air to catch them up. And meanwhile, up ahead of them, Irish Blue Gunner's going to get involved in this. Bit of sliding action there from XRL Michaels as he goes through 7 and 8. Really got poor traction. Murder's Murder gains a few tenths as a result of that to go through 10 into the double apex of turn 11. And Murder's Murder all over the back of Irish Blue Gunner in the sister McLaren.
I wonder if Irish Blue Gunner's going to play the team game here and help his teammates out and perhaps hold up Murder's Murder a little bit. And just give his teammate perhaps some slipstream to go down towards the turn 3 on the next lap. That's if he doesn't box.
Well, lap 10, prime tyres in the 50% distance.
Yep,
yeah, he's gone straight in as you called it. Good call.
I just know. Somehow.
When did you turn into Wheatley from Portal 2? You sounded exactly like him then. Oh, I've
never even played Portal 2.
Play it, it's brilliant. DR off the corner, Kerr's deployed on turn 2, and the DRS flap is now wide open as XRL Michaels looks to get some revenge here and blast past Murder's Murday, but Murder's Murday has forced him onto the wider line, and we see that this has been an effective defence, but XRL Michaels on the option tyres has the better traction and gets the move done.
He had some curves left over as well, so you shouldn't expect a threat from Murder's Murder as they come down towards turn 4, and, well, excuse me, you expect XRL Michaels to pull away now.
Meanwhile, Ascars is down in P5 after all his incidents on that prime tyres, but he's now finding himself behind the Lotus and Miss Brilliant. And look at this, caught back up to both Murder's Murday and Irish Blue Gunner, so it's back to second place. Has actually really come alive here. XRL Michaels, and then we've got Murder's Murday, and then we've got Miss Brilliant.
Yeah, very good so far, I think. Let's just put it out there.
Meanwhile, what was the message I got from Craig Senna before? I think it was just words I asked the best, that was it. No message from Craig Senna as to what happened with his connection. Bit of a shame that we lost him, unfortunately, because he showed last week in Singapore that he's got potential good pace for Tier 6 driver, and it shows that the guys in the lower divisions aren't ones to expect to be easy to dominate. Oh,
definitely, yeah. I mean, Eyes the Best has shown actually himself as well from Tier 6. But, well, himself and Craig Senna have both shown equally that they can race with people, even if they are 2 divisions above them. So, yeah, they're sticking their necks out there, and they're doing a really good job.
And of course, for those of you who will be watching, at the end of the season there will be the race for champions. I will not be in the box at that point because of course I will have retired. But that's when you get to see all the division's top 2 drivers racing against each other in a big banzai anything can happen race. Murder's Murder, DRS flat wide over, and XRL Michaels down towards turn 3, and he gets on the brakes nice and early. Can he get the car stuck? Goes a little wide, and I think XRL Michaels is going to once again dive up the inside. He's been the master of that performance so far, XRL Michaels. This is brilliant stuff.
That's the difference between the prime and the option tyres when it comes to traction out of the slow corners.
He also shows the difference between the driver attitudes, because you can see that while Murder's Murday got ahead and he had a few metres before the braking zone, he was just too wide, and that forced him into the wrong part of the apex at turn 3, and that opened the door for the tighter line that Michaels took. And look at the difference with sector 2. XRL Michaels has really pulled out here, probably because of the difference in the tyres.
All this is doing at the front though is Flame Dragon has built up a gap, and he's got around about an 8-second lead over the guys in second downwards, so it's certainly working out in his favour. But he still has the prime tyres to run, bearing in mind.
Meanwhile, Sick Harry is now stuck behind John Digweed. He was initially battling with Escarcin before that accident going into the final couple of corners with the side pod glitch, and that's really put him off the back of the pace. Miss Brilliant not doing too bad actually, running in 4th place for Motors, because a little wide at turn 15 into 16 now, and that causes us some loss of traction, and that gives Murders Murday and XRL Michaels a chance. And meanwhile, I think that's Flame Dragon in the pits. Indeed it is! So Murders Murday goes ahead, and now so as well does Miss Brilliant. So, Flame Dragon, has he gone for another set of option tyres here? Escarcin now in P4, so Escarcin's in there as well. And now Flame Dragon's now on the prime tyre, so he expected to stop only one more time from here.
Yeah, you'd find him probably go for another set of options at the end. The quickest way to go on here, as I mentioned earlier, 3 options, 1 prime stint.
Murders Murday now running in net 2nd place and looking at the back of XRL Michaels. Meanwhile, Petronas is saying Senna is fast here as well. Well, yeah, it's a shame because look, he did a decent job in qualifying, and we saw last week in Singapore that Craig Senna had good driving skills. So it's a shame that we never got to see them here this week in the F4. But then again, tomorrow night, T6 and F5000 both will be live on channels 1 and 2 here on Twitch.tv. So if you do want to get some action from those guys, make sure you tune in and supporting those divisions. XRL Bernie and F1 Speed, I believe, will be covering those. Don't quote me, but I believe that's who does those divisions.
It is indeed. You're correct, but we can quote you.
Hey, that's useful. Now, Miss Brilliant, meanwhile, P3 has got Escarcin bearing down on her very quickly in the Mercedes, but there's quite a lot of lines on the back of those tyres already here, so Escarcin's got to decide, does he go early and go for one more stint on the primes, or do you go for 2 stops on the options, because it looks like far away from the optimal window to do only one more stop to the end.
Yeah, you'll find yourself that you'll be losing far too much time even if you do.
Interestingly, Miss Brilliant's gone into the box already on lap 13, so she's boxed from 3rd place on the prime tyres. That's very early, and as a result, Murders Murday in 2nd place has now got Escarcin to worry about behind him.
She's gone on to another set of the prime tyres as well, Pete.
Someone who's obviously got very big tyre wear issues if you're running through your primes that quickly. Stay on the stream, you've all been very quiet. Are you all enjoying the race? I hope so. Going into turn 3, Murders Murday is moving forward a bit behind like XRL Michaels now. I think he's outside DRS zone, so Murders Murday's chances of taking this race have evaporated all of a sudden in this 2nd stint. It reminds me in many ways of 2009 at Bahrain when Toyota went onto the prime tyre in the middle of the race and lost out hugely to the Braun team, having dominated the whole weekend beforehand.
Proves that things can happen at times, and that you make the wrong mistake or the wrong decisions, and it costs you.
Indeed it does. Jordan, meanwhile, he'll be disappointed. He's down in 9th place on another set of the option tyres, being chased by John Digweed. He's really not going to be happy being down at the foot of the points. He'll have expected much more things from this weekend.
Only one person who is coming through the field, and that's Irish Blue Gunner. He's been on his prime tyres, he's on the options, he's now up into P6, and he's closing down on Sick Harry for P5. He keep it out on Blue Gunner for coming up through the field.
Well, so we move further back, you see we've got Miss Brilliant in 7th place after a 2nd pit stop. Doesn't look like she's in a good position, and we've got to 2nd prime stint. But you're quite correct. Irish Blue Gunner's right behind Harry, but at the front, what have we got here all of a sudden? We've got a huge cluster of cars together. Escarcin, they've all gone, so they've gone into the pits, that's typical. Escarcin now in 1st place, being followed by Flame Dragon, and then in the box we've got XRL Michaels and Murders Murday. They both stopped at the same time. Now the Sauber driver, can he hold on to McLaren in the pits here? No, he can't. XRL Michaels gets the drop on him, so that puts him ahead. Now, moving further forward, Irish Blue Gunner is way up on the diffuser of Sick Harry. He's going to have the DRS say down towards turn 3, and he almost gets past him without DRS before the zone even starts. That's the overspeed difference. Heading into turn 3, can he get the car stopped in the head of the corner? Well, that was all far too easy.
Fantastic from Blue Gunner, using his noggin, used all of his curves, and he's just
Flame Dragon has also got past Escarcin. Flame Dragon is back in the lead. It was crucial he wasn't held up by Escarcin on this stint, because the last thing he needed was that Mercedes driver holding him up and stopping him from victory today.
Well, it's clearly now a case of Flame Dragon's race to lose. We might only be at half distance and anything can happen, but he's got a big lead now. I think, the first person behind him to have made a pit stop is actually now Miss Brilliant, who's got herself up into, well, she's now P5, but she will be running a net P2.
Right, Murder's Birthday, meanwhile, is now in P7, behind XRL Michaels. These guys have been glued to each other so far always. Very entertaining to watch. As they go through turn 9 into turn 10, Murder's Birthday trying to go on the outside, getting no traction there. And that's now opening the door for Jordan, who's fought back to 8th place. He's only a couple of tenths behind these guys. So this could be a 3-car sandwich for the middle points as we go through turn 12. And you can see Murder's Birday's just not as confident getting the tyres up to temperature through 14 into 15. And this is crucial for XRL Michaels, who wants to defend. Cameo from the dog there, as we all expected.
You should know this by now that my dogs like to make an appearance.
Well, I'm a dog kind of guy, so that's not a problem. So DRS one will be over in Murder's Birthday down towards turn 1. Gets on the inside. Is he going to take a look here and think about going for turn 3? No, he backs out of it. And as a result of this, Jordan in the Mercedes is now right behind him on the option tyres. But I'm getting terrible traction out of turn 2, Jordan. Gets nowhere near them. And as a result of that, look at this from Murder's Birthday. There goes the DRS flap. There goes the curse. And he's like, see you later. And interestingly, Jordan's looking in the back of XRL Michaels into turn 3. Oh, Murder's Birthday makes a big mistake. Goes totally wide onto the marbles. And that lets both XRL Michaels and also Jordan through. Murder's Birthday is not giving up on the inside to turn 4. Can he get better traction? No, he can't. Murder's Birthday, catastrophic error there. And Jordan Faster on the inside turn 6, but he's just not got the traction to make that stick. And as a result of this, now Murder's Birday's back at him as he heads towards turn 7 into the fast chicane before turn 9. Murder's Birthday trying to go on the slightly wider line and force a mistake from the Mercedes driver, who goes close to the outside curve before turn 10. But Murder's Birday's just not close enough to attack at the moment. Into the double apex of 11, and you can see that Jordan's gained really closely on the back of XRL Michaels. Michaels under considerable pressure, and Murder's Birthday trying to close the gap through sector 3. But this is all about the Mercedes driver of Jordan and the McLaren now of XRL Michaels. Through 15 and 16 into 17, and Jordan will have the DRS down towards turn 1. Is he going to go to the box? No, he's not. He likes these tyres. Curve's being deployed, and he's actually going to the inside. I think Jordan's going to have a go here. He's not going to wait for turn 3. He's going to try and force him to make a mistake and go wide. But what defensive drive from XRL Michaels to filter into the normal wide and retain position. Jordan now has to fight down to turn 3.
This should be easy for Jordan. He's got the slipstream. There goes the curve and the DRS. He's pulling on the inside, and well, look at the overspeed.
Well, can he get the car stopped? We saw Murder's Birthday make this mistake before. Into turn 3, Michael, a little glancing blow there from XRL Michaels, but Jordan manages to stay ahead in 6th place.
Yeah, he just forced Michaels out a little bit wide there. He didn't force him off the track, but gave him enough space and just made sure that he forced an error out of Michaels. And well, that's what gifted him the position. Now Michaels will probably come under threat from Murder's Murder now.
If anything, actually, it's Jordan under threat from XRL Michaels. Murder's Murder had a poor run through turn 4 and 5, and that's allowed Michaels to get better traction up the hill towards turn 7. Look at this. The McLaren versus Mercedes, we've not seen that very often, as they're through 7 and 8. But Jordan now on those option tyres, even though they're warm, look at the gap already. Jordan really making hay while the sun shines here. As we move further up the field, we've got Miss Brilliant in the Lotus running in P5 at the back of Sick Harry, I think. Indeed it is, so Sick Harry under pressure now.
Indeed, yeah, Harry's tyres seem to have gone off. I wouldn't be too surprised if Harry actually came into the box this lap, although saying that, perhaps he's trying to extend his stint and even maybe just do one more prime stint, and yet he does indeed stay out.
DRS flat wide up from Miss Brilliant as they both blast past someone in the pits. Not sure who that was. That might have been a Scarson. Into turn 1. Oh, that's all 4 tyres over the inside. Miss Brilliant will have to give that place back, or that will be an illegal overtake. But then again, she might not even need to fight it because Sick Harry is right behind with the DRS and the curves. This is going to be a critical move here. If Harry does not get past, this could be a penalty. Down towards into turn 3. Is Sick Harry got the high line? No, Miss Brilliant defence to the inside and keeps the position. That's one for the stewards to review after the race.
All this is doing now is... Sorry, go on.
Now, said the rules are clear. You can't go over all 4 tyres to make it gain an advantage.
Harry's gone wide. Jordan's now on the outside, going through turn 6.
They touch tyres, and Jordan's got a tighter line, and that's going to get him through at turn 6. So disaster for Sick Harry. Not only did he potentially lose out to an illegal overtake, but he's now lost out because it's caught him up in between the battle with Jordan, who's now flying back towards the front of the field. He's in P4 now. Meanwhile, Spinny is just blowing his whistle on stream. Evidently, he thinks that's a penalty. He's just put beep, 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 so...
Oh, is that what he means then? Beep, beep, beep.
Is
that what we have to expect from you, Smithy?
Oh, XRL Michaels gets poor traction as he hits the back of Sick Harry. Manages to catch it, but that's now drops him away from the Williams driver, and John Digweed in the Ferrari is now caught up to him. We've got a 4-car duel all of a sudden, all the way down from 5th place towards 8th.
Jordan coming in P4, he's catching at the back of me. Irish Blood is now pitted from P2, so Jordan now moves
Sick
up
Harry's also
P3.
got into the pits as well. Sick Harry boxes. So we've got John Digweed with a DRS, Irish Blue got it in the box, and then running in P6 we've got Murders Merde. He's really not had a good run on the second half of the race, has he? He's really found it difficult.
Your fault, all your fault.
Why? I didn't choose Murders Merde to win the race.
Exactly. If you did, he would have done better.
Not really, Escasse's not done that well either. Into turn 3, John Digweed takes a look at the inside of the McLaren, but he's just not close enough, and as a result, XRL Michaels retains 4th. And actually, all of a sudden, John Digweed's under big pressure here, because we've got Murders Merde in the Sauber trying to close after it down towards turn 4. Murders Merde takes a quick look, realises a bit too far behind, filters back into line, and that's going to hold him up for a long period unless you can get a good run down to turn 6. Murders Merde thinks about it, but he's just not got the traction. Meanwhile, quick question for Spinnywan on the stream is who's in the lead? I believe it's Flame Dragon.
It is indeed Flame Dragon, and he's just building his gap up ever more as the laps go by.
Jordan now will start to catch up very quickly to Miss Brilliant. She might be running P2 at the moment, but there is a bit of a potential penalty hovering over the debutant, which is not what we like to see. Nothing worse than a debut race being ruined by a penalty. John Digweed trying to catch up to XRL Michaels, and now we've got Murders Merde in 6th place, trying to clutch as quickly as possible, going through to turn 13. And you can see he's actually not got the traction through the middle sectors, has he? John Digweed and XRL Michaels are pulling away from him. And yes, Spinny-Lad, that is the guy on pole who's in the lead.
It is, yes.
Murders Merde trying to catch up to John Digweed, who had a poor run off the final corner. Down towards turn 1, DRS open. Murders Merde just not got the speed to get away, but going to have the curves here off turn 2. But John Digweed's likely to have DRS on XRL Michaels, so it's a case of advantage negated. There go the flaps, and indeed, look at John Digweed's speed there as he pulls away initially before the drag reduction on Murders Merde's car. Into turn 3, John Digweed takes a look at XRL Michaels. He's just not close enough, and that compromises Murders Merde as well.
John Digweed said half a bar of his curves actually, but he's only used a little bit of actually. I thought he might have been a little looking at Michaels the inside of turn 4, but stays behind him for now.
XRL Michaels goes a little wide there at turn 4, manages to get away with it as behind John Digweed, Murders Merde closes the gap a little bit on the mini-map, but has just not got the low-speed traction. Despite that, a mistake from John Digweed in the Ferrari may open the door down towards turn 7, but no, once again, once those tyres get lit up on the options, they're just able to scamper away.
A little bit of curves was aided there from John Digweed as well, actually, as to why he pulled away so much.
Meanwhile, Jordan's still not closing the gap massively on Miss Brilliant, despite being on the faster tyre. Perhaps they've reached the end of the line there. John Digweed now in 5th place, going for the double apex of 11. Murders Merde trying to follow him through into turn 12. And again, Murders Merde just not liking the dirty air and the higher downforce. He actually hit the wall before turn 13 there, but just about got away without damaging it. Into 14, then 15 and 16. And John Digweed struggling a bit there, but then Murders Merde understeers almost off the circuit. And that's going to get Escassi, who's down in 7th place, getting closer to him. Yeah. Meanwhile, who's that in the pits? Murders Merde, and that's Jordan. Jordan's now gone into the pits. As I said, the tyres have reached the end of the line, so that's the end of his charge for now.
Well, I think he's trying to get the undercut on Miss Brilliant here, because she'll probably have to make one more pit stop herself for all the option tyres, so Jordan could be looking at a 2nd place finish here after what was a pretty mistake, well, been his own mistake on the first lap.
XRL Michaels under pressure for John Digweed under DRS into turn 3, but John Digweed's just not got the pace to be able to attack the back of the McLaren to go there. Murders Murday trying to get as close as he can, but look at the difference. Evidently those tyres are reaching the end of their life, and I think Murders Murday's going to have to pit again here.
Yeah, John Digweed's going to have to pit again as well. His options are looking a little bit second-hand, but Ascasin, out of nowhere, is now on the back of this train, and we now seem to perhaps potentially have a four-way scrap again.
And also, how long ago did Ascasin pick? If he didn't pick that long ago, he's already looking at leapfrogging these guys, and that would put him in second place. Well, third place, sorry, even.
In third place, yeah.
And again, also, let's not forget, they've missed brilliant pits, that'll be second place.
Indeed it will be, but then you have to think then, if people go on the option tyres at the end, they should catch up at around about 2 seconds a lap. So it's not all over for these guys
Scarce's got a great run on Murders Murday, had a poor run through turn 12 into 13, and that's got Scarce right to the back of both Murders Murday and John Digweed as they go through 14 into turns 15 and 16, and Scarce much more rocking on the accelerator, and you can see that both John Digweed and Murders Murday are holding each other terribly through turn 17, and as a result John Digweed goes into the box, but Murders Murday now the big pressure here as they go across the top. It's like someone else in the pits. Was that Miss Brilliant, possibly? Or was that Flame Dragon?
It was Miss Brilliant. But I think Flame
so
Dragon also made
now goes into P4, and he's already closed up to the back of Murders Murday, and he's looking at the back, and that's Sauer.
Yeah, both Flame Dragon and Miss Brilliant P1 and P2 did pit, and Flame Dragon's come back out ahead. So he's got a pit stop over ahead of everybody else, and well, it should be his race to win now.
Well, Scarson in P3, he might try and fancy hanging onto his tyres here, but again, will that make him a bit too much of a liability when we get to the high-speed aero sections of 1 and 2? I think he's probably going to be looking at second place as limitation here. Not a bad recovery considering the wars he's been in so far this race. That's if he can make the tyres last, of course. Meanwhile, out ahead of Scarson in the McLaren, you've got the great driving by XRL Michaels. He's really impressed me today, Michaels. Not only because he's done the off-move, but it's the way he's defended. He's been very clean, very accurate, and taking advantage of the white circuit setup. And I've been really impressed by XRL Michaels today.
Well, there we go. You don't normally hear that from Swish, but he's actually praising a driver.
I praise a lot of drivers, well, you know. You don't get to be number one commentator by ripping on people and taking a dump all over them.
Wow.
I'll remember that next time I think about praising you now. Mr. Potential overtaker this season. I'm taking that one back.
Even I admit that was probably not an overtaker season, but it was nice of you to say that.
Into 15 and 16, Ascasin getting decent traction, attacking the back of the McLaren. Oh, but what was that from Ascasin? He didn't even try and take the corner. DRS over on the back of XRL Michaels. I get the feeling Ascasin's not going to make the move here. But again, did he gain an advantage? Oh, and well, he has now, because XRL Michaels won it too. And that means Ascasin's going to be able to out-drag him down towards turn 3, using his curves to attack. And there goes the DRS flap, and Ascasin should be able to pull away here and get ahead of Michaels. We've seen Michaels really take that position as well. Into turn 3 goes on the tighter line, and Ascasin's going to be forced wide off the circuit here. And as a result, XRL Michaels and Ascasin side by side down towards turn 4. But Ascasin takes the high ground and takes the position.
Just there's a battle for fourth going on as well, Swish. The teammate of Ascasin, John, has, I believe, just made a move on Irish Blue Gunner, who has just made a pit stop himself. So Jordan is now up into P4.
Yeah, Jordan up to P4 and not too far behind both of Scarcin and XRL Michaels. So these guys are really potentially close to another fall over the line here at the end of the race. As XRL Michaels watches Scarcin go a little wide through turn 7 and 8. And going through turn 9, Michaels has got decent traction, but those tyres of Scarcin should be able to make him hang on and get the gap for now. But will Michaels fight back and take that position at the end of the race when those tyres start to fall off?
Well, there's only one way to find out, but it's not fight.
XRL Michaels getting decent traction through turn 12 into 13 and into 14. You can see that he's getting a decent line. 15, 16 coming up before 17. And Ascasin, I tell you what, I wish these corners had names. I hate saying that. Into 12, into 13. It's so lifeless.
You said this last week, Rich, but you can't force them to put names on them. God knows what names we'd have for this track. I mean, we'd be here forever trying to pronounce them.
Not necessarily. Bahrain's got corners named after the likes of Michael Schumacher, for instance.
Well, true, yes, but I won't go there. I'll just leave it.
Miss Brilliant on the option tyres, looking at the back of the Irish Blue Gunner in the McLaren. DRS flat wide open as we head down through towards turn 3. And I think that move's going to be easily done there down towards turn 3 by her. Can she get the car stopped in time? Well, Jordan gets ahead into P4 and gets poor traction out of the car initially, does Miss Brilliant, but then starts to pull away at the end. Jordan, meanwhile, is now caught up quickly to XRL Michaels. So XRL Michaels in danger of falling off the podium now.
Well, certainly hope not. XRL Michaels has had a fantastic race considering where he started. But yes, the fresh option tyres of Jordan seem to have the upper hand at the moment, and I just think it's going to be a matter of time.
Now, will Jordan Passy move down into the inside and 9 before 10 here? They're going to potentially be side by side. Jordan's committed to the move. Realises he's not got the natural line and backs out in before 10. Has that forced a mistake from Michaels? Yes, it has! And Jordan magnificently takes the move. That's how you drive, viewers. You set the move up and let them make the mistake. Fantastic job for Jordan.
Well, that's the first mistake that XR Michaels has made all race, and it's potentially cost him a podium.
It just goes to show it's all about timing. Everybody's been thinking about the DRS and that, but Jordan decides, right, I'm going to try somewhere different, and first time through it gets the move done. I mean, look at 2012, of course, when Lewis Hamilton was held up behind Michael Schumacher forever at the Monza, and then first time he tried, Jenson Button blasted past the pair of them.
XR Michaels has actually gone into the pits for a last stint. He's going to lose out so much.
He couldn't even finish at the back of the point six. That's going to put him so far down. Even if it's on the option tyres, that's a lot of time to make up. Surely too much time.
Yeah, it's too much time. Where's he coming out? He's coming out in P9.
Now, interestingly, Miss Brilliant's only a few seconds adrift of Jordan. Is she going to be fighting back to get herself back on the podium? I know, of course, that there's been a potential threat of a penalty for a potential illegal overtake, but let's take that out of the equation for now. Only a couple of seconds adrift of Jordan, who's only about a second and a half adrift of his teammate Ascarsin. That could be a three-way dance into the final lap.
I think you're going to find that Jordan will be all over his team. Ascarsin is on the prime tyres. He's comfortable on them, but Jordan is so much quicker on those option tyres, and I think he'll have the DRS on the next lap. And although then again saying that, Ascarsin is the championship leader, and he will probably want to pull out as much of a gap as he can to his rivals, especially the fact that Ryan.
Jordan's made a mistake at turn 10 and almost spun the car though. Went off the circuit. That's going to cost him 2 or 3 tenths. On the street, Smitty says apparently it was 2011 when Jenson Button blasted past both Hamilton and Schumacher at Monza. I don't think it was. That was Schumacher and Webber at Canada. I don't think it was the same year.
Wikipedia it.
Wikipedia, anyone can edit that. I don't trust Wikipedia. You can go to George Bush's paper, but he's really a dog, and it'd get accepted. Or do a David Icke say it. Do a David Icke say he's an evil reptile as a member of the Illuminati.
Well, Jordan had the DRS coming down the home straight there. He went wide at turn 1. It has cost him, but he still has the DRS. But he's cost himself any opportunity on overtaking on this lap, I would think.
Sick Harry under big pressure here because Murders Murday, your pick for victory down in 7th place. He's all over the back of Sick Harry. DRS flat will be over for Murders Murday. Down towards turn 3. Is he going to go on the inside? He's sort of a dummy and gone to the outside as Sick Harry filters to the middle of the circuit. Can Murders Murday get the car stopped and take position? Yes, he can. In the end, he made that look easy. A good overtake from Murders Murday. But it'll be a case of what might have been today because he should have been much closer to the front. And meanwhile, speaking of the front, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are covered by no more than 3 seconds between them because both Miss Brilliant and Jordan have caught up quickly to the back of Ascarsin.
Yeah, Ascarsin on those prime tyres. As I said, he's not struggling. It's just that the pace difference between these two tyre compounds is so significant.
Ascarsin goes a little wide at 10 there, and that opens the door potentially for Jordan, who's trying to attack in the past around the outside of 11, but he's just too far behind at this point. But his teammate will be under DRS threat. And of course, Ascarsin, he's more the championship leader than these two, so there'll be no team orders in play here. This will be Hamilton versus Rosberg if these guys get going.
I think what Ascarsin might want to do is help his own teammate out so he can catch up to the guys who are just ahead of him and help himself out. But yeah, Jordan's got curves left, and he might have looked down to turn 1 here, and he is. He's looking down to turn 1 on the inside.
If he does get past it, he's got to be careful Scarson doesn't do him again on the outside. Oh, they almost hit each other into turn 1. And I don't know if Jordan was all 4 tyres on the circuit there when he made that pass. That looked pretty close to me.
That was marginal. I think he might just get away with that. But the problem he's got now anyway is his teammate. He's going to have DRS on the back of him. And here he goes. DRS on Kurz coming down to the inside and towards turn 3.
Well, as Scarson taking his teammates into turn 3, gets on the brakes. Oh, his teammates hit him. And there's that cycle glitch. I think it is, and that's going to let Miss Brilliant get through.
Well, that was Jordan's own mistake there, as Cassin had the line into the corner, and, well, he's just turned in too early, and it's cost himself to Miss Brilliant.
And as a result of that, Miss Brilliant's got 1 lap to try and hold herself on the podium for what will be a superb debut performance. And Scarson, can he hang on with those prime tyres? Can Jordan pull off a miracle double overtake as we enter the final stages of the Korean Grand Prix here? Brought to you tonight by GT Omega Racing and GamePod.co.uk with myself, Pete Mark, on the bullets in the box. And of course, after the race is over, your racing fix is not at an end. If you go to Channel 1, Channel 2, the GP3 race should still be going because they're 100% tonight.
Indeed, yes. Well, Flame Dragon is coming around the final corner now to begin his final lap. And look at the gap that he's got. He's just been in a completely different league tonight compared to these guys. And, well, he showed it. Oh, John kicking up the dust and onto the grass there.
And Scarson did the same mistake, and look how close these 3 are together. This could be a right scrap on the final DRS cells on the final lap here. And we can see that Miss Brilliant is having a look at the back of a Scarson already. She's not taking any prisoners on her debut performance. DRS flap over. Is she going to try to turn 1? No, she's backed out. She's got to be careful. She's opening up for Jordan, who's hit her and hit her off the circuit. Jordan has caused an accident. He backs off. But that is going to give a Scarson the podium position.
I wonder if Jordan did a dirty team play move there to help his teammate. And he's got the DRS now and going in towards turn 3, but he can't overtake her. That's still classed as an illegal overtake.
Oh, he's going onto the inside, and I think he's going to go off the circuit here. Yeah. Indeed he is, so she's going to try and clean back past him. Meanwhile, behind them, we've got another scrap as Murder's Murder and Irish Blue Gunner are still at it, and Murder's Murder gets on the inside at turn 3. You think that's enough for him to take 5th place, a decent recovery after a terrible first stint.
Well, it wasn't his first stint, that was the problem. It was his second stint on those prime towers. That's what's caused Murder's Murder today. But yeah, as you said, nonetheless, a good recovery on this last stint.
Well, actually, Miss Brilliant is now on the podium, bizarrely. I don't know how she's got there, because I'm pretty sure she was running in full.
No, Jordan did outbreak himself, remember, and she reached that position.
Of course. So, Scarson, can she take 2nd place here, Miss Brilliant? Probably not likely, looking at the gap there that's been formed. And we're already waiting, of course, for Flame Dragon to finish. It's going to be a matter of seconds now.
He's already come across, he's weaving across the start-finish line, and what is a comfortable win for Flame Dragon tonight. It's fantastic.
Won by a whole sector, so that's a good difference in time there. A good 16 seconds. As it goes into turn 15 and 16, Scarson is going to hang on. What a recovery drive from him. Having been taken potentially off the track a couple of times, he's got his head down, got the laps, and taken a magnificent second. And all credits of Miss Brilliant, who finishes on the podium. She may not stay there due to penalties, but still a great result. Jordan comes home 4th for a case of what might have been. Meanwhile, in P5, Irish Blue got a good solid drive from him, starting 11th. Scarson, meanwhile, he's got a penalty. Scarson's on a game penalty. It's put him down to 6th place. I don't know if that's because he was contacted and the game said caused the collision, maybe.
Potentially, yes.
We'll have to get that noted down, find out exactly where that came from. John Digweed is 7th, XRL Michaels finishes in 8th at the end, and then perhaps a sick Harry. Scarson, we were going to interview as part of the podium. What caused the penalty?
When I was really slow before my first pit stop, Sick Harry was kind of, I think his front wheel was at my back wheel. I think, don't sting me in that.
Okay. We did get that incident on the street, so that's going to be looked at. So Bobbers will mark that down as part of the review, so thanks for your comments. Meantime, we'll start on the podium interviews and we need to carry on. Flame Dragon. Well, that all looked a bit too easy after your first stint. Once you were out there in front, no one was catching you.
That wasn't as easy as it